This is Why So Mysterious, the podcast where we attempt to fill the gap between the bodies we have and the lack of knowledge around them.
We're sharing our experiences and answering our own questions,
With some help along the way,
to destigmatize tricky, taboo topics.
The triple T's.
Welcome to another episode of Why So Mysterious. I'm Raven.
And I'm Sada.
And today we have the distinct pleasure of having our follow-up guest, Eliza Trendiak, who you should remember because you should be listening to all of our episodes, from the episode Assume the Pregnant Position. And Eliza, would you like to tell the people, in case they didn't go back and listen, who you are? What's your deal?
Yeah, my name is Eliza Trendiak, and I have the distinct pleasure of being Sarah's stepsister.
Yeah!
We became stepsisters later in life, and it was...
What a blessing
was
our divorced parents
right?
met.
That was like literally the best thing.
Best thing to come of a divorce.
Exactly. So she is now auntie to my baby Remy.
Yay!
And I'm the owner of Artel Salon in Vancouver.
That's 3 salons.
3 salons in Vancouver.
It's not just one.
So in case you guys missed it, our last podcast, or the podcast that I was on, was just talking about leading up to pregnancy, having my first baby, and kind of like the fear around that, and also juggling being an entrepreneur and a business person, a career-minded person, and then also entering the world of motherhood at the same time. So I'm
very loaded.
It's a really good episode.
I'm excited
People
to watch it, and I'm also
Yeah.
excited to like go back and be like, oh wow.
Yeah, we should say actually, like, as of our recording this episode, that episode has not yet come out, so it'll be fresh for all of us. And you were, you were like a couple weeks out from baby time.
The baby was coming. Yeah. And you were, I mean, just to like recap, you were feeling, I mean, just because you hadn't ever been like dreaming of becoming a mom. So it wasn't like this like final milestone that you were approaching. It was kind of like, oh shit, I'm becoming a mom. Like,
It was
this
definitely
is pretty scary.
Yeah. Oh shit, I'm becoming a mom. And literally, it was like everything after my due date was just like a black hole. Like I had no idea what life was like on the other side.
No.
And I'm still here. So.
You're still here.
Yay!
You made it.
You did it.
You did it. You
So-
gave birth to a human.
I gave birth to a human.
Which we
Wow.
are going to be talking about today.
Yeah.
So the way that we wanted to kind of do this, which we talked about right before we started recording, was there's a lot of podcasts, there's a lot of content, there's a lot of things on motherhood, and there should continue to be, absolutely. But our deal is taboo topics, and one of those is like kind of the nitty-gritty of birth, and then also the actual recovery is not really something that people are ready to prepare others for, it seems like. So let's get into it a little bit. So I'm curious, because we didn't really talk about this in the first episode. Did you have like a birth plan? I think you had a midwife, but you had birth, you had birth in the hospital. Yes. So can you tell us like a little bit about the plan?
Yeah, so I had both a a midwife.
We're all doing it.
A midwife and a doula.
Oh, you did? Good.
I did, yeah. Just because friends of mine who had their first said that like doulas were worth their weight in gold, and just it completely changed the experience. 1,000%.
Okay, yeah, because the home birth, I think I told you that I was at, they did not get a doula. They had a midwife, and like later we were all like, get a doula. Get a doula. Regretted it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I later described a doula as like, regardless of what your relationship is with your mother, whoever you are in the world, a doula is like exactly what you dreamed or always wanted a mother to
be.
Whoa.
Oh, that sounds so nice.
That's intense.
Regardless of your experience with a mother. If you have a great relationship with your mother, if you have a bad relationship with your mother, like the doula was like 1,000% what you wanted and needed a mom to be in that moment. Like,
didn't she like rub your back?
Rub my back, like at one point, like literally like rub my feet. Which that is like melt me, but like just knew exactly when to be there, when to like lay back.
Right.
I had 2 doulas because they work in shifts.
Okay.
And my labor was 3.5 days long, so I got to see both of them.
Holy shit, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So back to your original question.
Yeah.
Did I have a birth plan? So
yeah.
I had a midwife and a doula, and they both wanted me to talk about with Rob, my husband, and think about a birth plan.
Okay.
Mostly just so that they're prepared as well, so that they can advocate for you.
Right.
If things start to go haywire and you're in so much pain you can't really advocate for yourself. If things start happening too quickly, they can kind of step in. They want to know what your birth plan is. So I in no way, shape, or form had a vision of
how it's going
to go. I absolutely did not think it was going to be magical at all.
Well, that's
great.
Yeah, lower your expectations.
Yeah, I was like, if I could have a C-section, I'd be fine with that. I would feel no shame with that.
Yeah.
I could have a vaginal birth,
whatever.
To me, I was like, as long as I'm healthy, the baby's healthy. I wasn't holding on to an idea of this
really
is what
good.
I want.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that that's a big thing for a lot of people. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I was like, there's pros and cons to both.
Yeah. For sure.
And I'm sure that kind of has to do with not having always dreamt of being a mother, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think it's when people dream of their wedding day. They plan
1,000%.
how they want things to be. And similarly, if being a mother is a big goal in your life, you would likely have some ideas of okay, well, I would really like to have it at home, or I would really like to have whatever. And it's well, life happens. And,
totally.
Same with weddings and babies. Shit just hits the fan always.
Yeah.
You gotta roll with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me personally, literally the only thing in my birth plan was that I did not want to get an epidural.
Right.
And
yeah, I remember that.
Why didn't you want to get an epidural?
I did not want to get an epidural because I personally know someone who was paralyzed from an epidural.
Oh my God. Permanently?
Permanently.
Yeah. Personally.
Wow.
I personally know
Not
them.
just
yeah.
And so that was something for both Rob and I, it was a fear, a big, big fear. And I know that it's a 1 in a million chance of happening.
It's hard though when you know someone.
Yeah.
Then it's so there.
It's so there. And
also, that even besides that, there's a lot of reasons that make sense for not going for an epidural. So,
absolutely.
I mean, again, if it's your jam, whatever. But, the more I find out about the epidural, the more it freaks me out.
Yes,
so, yeah.
Totally. And I'm I have a hard time getting a flu shot. I despise needles. And then when
it's
you
a
learn,
big ass needle.
When you learn about what an epidural
and
is,
where
it's
going.
this 12-inch needle going into your
a
spinal
tap.
cord.
And then it hooks on to your spinal
cord.
There's a little
hook at the bottom. It's it's terrifying. The idea of it. It's really terrifying. So I was like that. That is.
That's where you draw the line.
That's where I draw the line in the sand. I was I don't want an epidural, but but I was also but if it came down to something happening and my baby's life was in danger, obviously don't give me a C-section without an epidural or without freezing me.
Of course.
So that was kind of going into it. So I started to go into early labor, a Saturday night. I started feeling kind of period cramps, and I was like, oh, that's weird. It feels like I'm getting my period, but there's no way I can get my period because there's a baby in there.
There's a baby.
And then I was
baby ready to come out.
Right? And then I was like, wait a second. This is what a period is for. This is what I've been planning. This is what my body's been planning for my whole life.
Literally what your period is
so no wonder it would kind of feel like a period cramp, right? Yeah.
Revelations.
Right? So that started Saturday night, and I was like, okay, is this what it's supposed to feel like? Because I had this idea in my head that a contraction would literally feel like your stomach was going I thought it would feel on the outside of my belly, it felt I thought it would feel doing a crunch or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I can imagine. I think that's what I also thought. Was more. It was push it down, push it.
Yeah.
When you're I don't know, just feels like it would be more like that. But then when you said it, I'm like, duh. Like, of course, because it's literally when you have cramps, it's your cervix contracting. It's just like miniature contractions.
Right? Exactly. I know, like all these words. You're like,
you're like,
that's
why we use
called
the same
that."
word.
So,
But nobody tells you that.
But nobody tells you
Yeah.
this,
Nobody
right?
does.
So, so Sunday morning, again, it's still happening, feeling like I basically feel like I've got period cramps. Went out for coffee with a girlfriend, and she's like, I think you're in early labor. And I was like, really? Do you think so? This is crazy. Because I'm like, I'm out for coffee. So later in the afternoon, definitely starting to feel pain, definitely being like, okay, this is getting more intense. And that's kind of happening the whole day. Like, I'm still just trying to like clean the house, get ready, because I'm like, I think this is happening. Right. I just wanted everything to be like, I wanted the house to be clean for when I got home.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So it's going on like 11 p.m. and now I'm in the kind of pain level where I'm starting to like moan. And I just kept taking showers because that was the only thing that would make me feel better, is just like to stand in a hot shower and just like bend over and have like the heat, like the hot water on my back just felt so good. So Rob calls her doula. So she came over and she was amazing. She got to our house at like 11:30. She stayed with us the entire night. Like, sat on the side of my bed, rubbed my back, rubbed my legs, like helped me breathe through the contractions because they were getting pretty bad. And then, you know, when things would kind of ease off, she'd be like, okay, I'm just going to go hang out in your living room. Like, I'll come in if I hear you, like, hear that you're in pain. She was like, Rob, like, you just need to get some sleep. And so.
Get ready.
Yeah.
Get ready.
So that was amazing just to have her, because like, yeah, you don't know what it's supposed to feel like, and it felt different than what I imagined it would feel like. So just having somebody there to be like, yep, this is normal, and you know,
you're doing okay.
You're doing okay. Was awesome. Yeah. Because like a midwife wouldn't really come to your house that early.
Yeah.
They kind of only. In my experience, which is limited, but they only come when the baby is coming and when you start going into labor. So the birth that I was at, she showed up at the beginning of the labor, and then my friend was, I think, like 2 centimeters dilated, and she was like, okay, well, bye, and then left, and then didn't come back until like 15 minutes before the baby was born.
Yeah.
So
so that, like, but to me, having that like emotional support ahead of time was so good, and also just to be able to let Rob sleep, because that was necessary. Like, he was so worried about me, but she was like, nope, you need to sleep, like, I got this, kind of thing. So fast forward to like now Monday morning, and she's like, okay, I think like she's timing the contractions, they're getting closer together, they're like 4 minutes long or 4 minutes apart. She's like, okay, I'm pretty sure you're now transitioning into active labor, like they're getting closer together. So we're just going to time a couple more contractions. She timed one more contraction, and then they just completely stopped. Like, stopped.
Your contractions?
My contractions.
That's nuts.
Stopped altogether. Just like nuts. Like, just.
Well, how long were they like in between?
It was like 4 minutes, and they had gone all night long. Like, all
Seriously?
night long. And suddenly at 8 in the morning, they just like
They're
stopped.
just like, no.
How did you feel?
I started to get extreme back pain, but the contraction stopped. So I started to get this extreme back pain that went from the bottom of my, or like the top of my left hip up to my like left shoulder blade. But the actual contractions themselves stopped. So literally, we all got up, and Rob and I were sitting on the couch, and Judy, our doula, was sitting having a cup of coffee, and we just kind of like sat and had a conversation. And she's like, I'm not sure what's going on.
What's happening?
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, but my back really hurts, but there's no contractions.
Yeah.
So she's like, I live 10 blocks away from you. I'm gonna go home and get some sleep. Call me the second that contractions start again. So she's like, maybe we'll just like let the midwife know kind of what's going on. So anyways, contractions did not come like and it's been, at this point, it's been hours, but this back pain is getting out of control. And the only thing I can do is go and stand in the shower and just like literally stand at like 90 degrees and have hot water on my back because the back pain is getting out of control. So
Oh no.
I think I counted and I had like 17 showers in one
Holy
day.
Oh
shit.
my
I-
God.
Like
Yeah.
Your poor towels.
my poor
Yeah.
towels, my poor skin.
Your
yeah.
skin.
I swear, like
would like a heating blanket, would that have helped?
Or
Or
a
was
heating
it just
pad?
or was it just like hot water on
it
your
was
back?
like hot water was the only thing that would make
Maybe
me
it was
feel
also
better.
probably like the sensation of like having something like
I mean, water's
hit you.
very soothing. So it
Yeah.
could've- and the steam maybe. I don't know. I'm like,
Yeah.
There's something about it, but a heated blanket wouldn't do it. And at this point is when I like start throwing up everything. So like
Oh,
I'm no longer keeping any food down, like fully threw up in the shower, which was
Oh
like
no.
a terrible
Really?
experience.
Oh,
That's
my
not the
God.
worst place to throw
It's
up.
not the
It's
worst
not the
place
worst
to throw
place.
up, but it's also like
But
this is
imagine
like
being 9 months pregnant and
you're
throwing up in
huge
the
and you're just like in
shower.
agony
guess
and you're like,
so.
great, now I'm like throwing up in this place where I'm supposed to be like clean. So midwives finally come like mid-afternoon. They check me and I'm only 2 centimeters dilated.
Mm.
Classic. Fun.
It's been what, 2 days now or
No,
something?
it's been like
Well,
I
so
guess
yeah,
it's 2
started
days.
Saturday night and this is now like Monday afternoon.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
And
How
I'm like,
disappointed were you?
I was, well, you know what? I was really, really like, I was trying to prep myself because everyone says you think you're way farther along than you
Right.
are.
Yeah.
So I was really trying to prep myself.
Okay.
Like before they came, I literally said, I'm probably only 2 centimeters. I'm probably only 2 centimeters. And I kept saying that so that I wouldn't like be crushed.
Yeah.
And then when they said it, I was like, fuck, I'm only 2 centimeters.
Oh my God.
So the midwives were like, yeah, like you're only 2 centimeters. Basically, you need to like call us when contractions start again, stuff like that. So now we're at Monday night and contractions are starting, but they're very sporadic. They're few and far between, but my back pain is out of control. Like I'm puking. We're calling the midwives. We're like, look, I can't keep anything down. I don't know what to do. Rob's like so worried for me because I haven't eaten anything. And she's like, okay, just like, you can have some Gravol, just to try and like stop the throwing up. Took Gravol, could not keep that down. So it's now about like 11 p.m. Monday night. So we're calling the midwives and they're like, okay, you know what? It doesn't sound like this is a labor issue, like your back pain, because it's like weirdly on one side.
Can I ask actually real quick, like how many, when was your due date? Were you days past your due date at this point?
No, I was-
You were early.
Were
I
you
was-
early?
Yeah, I actually gave birth 10 days early.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at this
So
point,
I was like,
this
how
is-
you're
come
like
no one is
13
sending
days
you to the
away.
hospital? But if you're not
Yes.
quite there.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
quite there, and the contractions aren't like happening regularly. So they're like, my midwife is like, you know what? This doesn't sound like a labor issue. Like this back pain is weird. Like it could be an infection or something like that. You guys need to go to VGH. So Rob and I jump in the car. I'm like literally in a bathrobe,
Aw.
thinking like we're gonna go to VGH. We're gonna figure out this back thing. We'll be home, and I might have the baby in a couple days. So we don't bring like our
Anything.
full kit of things.
Oh
Oh.
no.
Did you have a kit ready and you just didn't bring it, or had
Yes.
you? Oh, I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
no.
Yeah, because we were just like, because I was like, I'm not functioning at this point. I'm just like moaning and rocking. Like all I could do was like rocking, and so Rob's just
Right.
like, okay, we got to get in the
Okay.
car. We got to go to the hospital. So we go to VGH. I'm registered to give birth at Women's. So we go to VGH. It's like almost midnight. I waddle in, and they're like, "Oh, you're over 20 weeks pregnant. Like, we're not gonna take you. We're not gonna deliver your baby here. We don't deliver babies here." And I'm like, "Okay, but I'm not delivering a baby. I'm like in so much pain I can't function. I'm not having contractions." They're like, "Sorry, we're not gonna take you. Try St. Paul's." So we get in the
Oh,
car. We drive to
no.
St. Paul's. Go into emergency. They take one look at me and they're like, okay, we need to send you up to maternity. So they put me in a wheelchair and I'm fully rocking, moaning, and crying.
Oh.
And they send me up to maternity. and they're trying to check me in there, and they're like, why are you here? You're registered at Women's. And I'm like, yeah, but I've got this crazy back thing going on. I'm not actually like having regular contractions.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you're not having regular contractions? You need to go back down to Emerge. So they sent me back downstairs to emergency.
Oh no.
So I'm then literally still in this wheelchair, rocking, moaning, crying. Like poor Rob is just like beside himself, like like what's going on? Nobody will look at me at Emerge, and they're like, I don't understand why they sent you back down here. Like, you're clearly having a baby. We're sending you back up to the maternity ward. So they sent me back up again, and like at this point, Rob's like, somebody needs to take a look at my wife. Like, please, like she is out of control in pain, and
I'm
so
feeling
angry.
so many feelings
Yeah.
right now.
Right?
And I also feel so fucking bad for Rob.
oh,
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I know.
Like, oh.
I know. And so my midwife doesn't have privileges at St. Paul's. This is another thing that I learned, that midwives have privileges at different hospitals.
You like legally cannot enter. So that was a thing with too at the home birth that I was at. Is my friend gave birth in Kelowna. The midwife was registered in Kelowna, but for some reason she wanted her to go to a hospital in Vernon because her pain was out of control, and she was kind of like, yeah, and then like, I'm out of the picture.
Yeah.
So like, if you make this decision, then you're just going to deal with the hospital staff.
Right? Which is like so scary, because you've had this like journey with your midwife through your whole pregnancy, and then I'm like, no.
I cannot do this.
I don't want to
without
have
you.
a baby. I don't want to have this baby here. Like, I want my midwife to be there.
Yeah.
The doula can come because they're not
Like
they're not
like,
medically like birthing anything.
Yeah.
They're just kind of there for support.
yeah.
But yeah, it's wild.
That is wild.
It's nuts. So now I'm like going through this, like, okay, is my midwife gonna be here? Like, and at this point, I'm just like, someone please give me some fucking pain relief.
Yeah.
Because like
this whole time,
this whole time
you're still having like agonizing back
agonizing back pain. So maternity, they're like, yeah, your midwife isn't here. Like, you're supposed to have a baby at Women's. Like, we're not quite sure like why you're here. So they send us back down to Emerge. And
oh my god.
so now at this point, like, they put me in this like small examination room, and a doctor comes in who's like, he's an emergency doctor. He's like, I'm not a gynecologist. Like, he's like, I'm not quite sure.
I don't know what I'm doing.
He's like, I'm not quite sure why they keep sending you back here, but he's like, what I do know is that you're in extreme pain and we need to give you something for it. And I was like,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So they gave me morphine, and I later found out my midwife like read over all my charts of everything afterwards, that they gave me enough morphine that they gave me basically the same dose of morphine that you give somebody that has just been in an extremely bad car accident.
Oh my god.
So they like pumped me full of morphine, and for the first time in 2 days, I was like, oh, and I instantly like fell asleep.
Is it responsible to start you on that much morphine right away? Is that normal, or
I have no idea. All I know is that in that moment, I was so thankful for it.
Fair enough.
No.
Like, it was just like,
I mean, technically, if you're not giving birth right away,
I guess
then
if they,
I'm sure
yeah.
there would, because it's just like you're asleep. Like, there's not much you can. You can't really give birth on morphine, I don't think.
Well, and if
maybe
you're not
you
having
can.
contractions,
I have no idea.
I guess that does make sense. It just seems,
Yeah.
And then also, we hear all the comparisons about what childbirth is like in comparison to like things like car accidents and whatnot. So it does kind of make sense. It just seems weird that to me that they would go
like,
straight
go to
there.
like the big guns,
Yeah.
right?
But I mean, yeah, relief.
In the moment, I was very thankful. I was so thankful. So yeah, so I fall asleep on this examination table, which just felt so glorious because I really haven't like slept in a long time.
Yeah.
So by this point, it's now about like 8 a.m.
On what day?
Tuesday morning. So we're now at like Tuesday
this
morning.
Is a long journey. I cannot even believe it.
We're checking in with the midwife every couple hours, just giving her updates on like what's going on with me. Contractions are kind of starting to like happen again. And so the midwife's like, okay, you know what? Like, let's just meet at Women's. Like, let's get you out of St. Paul's. We need to get you to Women's. And
Where the pros are.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So Rob goes to get the car. So I literally waddle out onto the street at 8 a.m. on like Burrard Street. People are walking by in their like suits with their like Starbucks coffee, and I'm standing there.
Yeah, we should actually just say really quick, anyone who's not familiar with Vancouver, St. Paul's Hospital is downtown Vancouver.
Yeah,
it is downtown
in like
Vancouver.
the like very like work district,
Like financial district. So I'm
Oh
standing
my God.
on the side of the road in a fuzzy bathrobe
Oh.
with like no makeup on, just greasy ponytail.
Yeah. 17 showers later.
I'm huge, and people are just walking by in their like pea coats with briefcases, drinking their morning coffee, being like, I don't know what is happening with that. And I'm
you're,
still
like so pregnant.
and the morphine is wearing off, so I'm now starting to like rock on the side of the road, and I'm just like I'm like, people probably think that I'm like tweaking out, right?
Oh my
So-
gosh.
so Rob Rob comes to get me, and I'm now like, the morphine is fully worn off. We're now driving to BC Women's, and I have to go to the bathroom so bad. Like, I'm going to go to the bathroom in this vehicle if I do not find a bathroom like instantly. So I basically burst through the doors of Women's, and like the receptionist is like, hi, or like, are you plan to have a baby here? And I was like, give me a bathroom. Like, sorry about the audio on that. But yeah, so I kind of like run past the desk and just like run to find a bathroom.
Oh,
And then I'm like, thank God I made it to the bathroom on time. Like, I come out and I'm again just standing like rocking, moaning, crying, and then my midwife shows up, and it's like the most beautiful sight in the world to see my midwife.
Oh,
So
wow.
I lay down on this examination bed. It's kind of like a room that they're, they check you out before they like take you upstairs or whatever. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna like check to see how dilated you are. She looks at me and she goes, you're only 2 centimeters.
No, in all that time?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So literally nothing's happened since you left the house.
No. And it's been like 3 days by this point. And she's like, she's like, they will not admit you until you're 4 centimeters. And she's like, I'm not sending you home. She's like, I'm going to manually stretch you to 4 centimeters.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, I didn't know you could do that.
What, just like right there in the house?
Just right there and then. So she just like goes in and she like with her hands and like stretches it. And like, I literally don't even flinch. I don't even feel it.
You didn't feel it?
Is it because you had so much back pain?
I had so much back pain that like whatever was happening down in the vag, like just didn't
like,
even register. And she's like, normally that is extremely uncomfortable. She's like, but you didn't even flinch at that. And
Oh my
So-
gosh. I can
so-
only imagine how excruciating your back pain must have been.
it was nuts. Like, I don't even, like, I can't
And
even,
they didn't know
they didn't know what it
why.
was. And to this day, there's still a big question mark as to what it was.
as to what it was.
Really?
Yeah, which is interesting. We'll get to that
Okay.
later.
Yeah. It wasn't
But-
like her position inside you was kind of pinching something?
No, because it came back a week later.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
ended up in the emerge a week after giving birth with the same back pain.
Are we gonna talk about
Yeah, we're
that?
gonna
Yeah,
talk
we'll
about
Okay,
talk
so
about that, yeah.
TBD.
Yeah. So they get me in a chair. They wheel me up to the birthing suite. We get into the birthing suite. I have no recollection of what the actual hospital looks like. And I was in that room for days, and I came out finally after like giving birth and was like, oh, this is what the hospital looks like. Like, just had no idea. Get to the birthing suite, and they're like, okay, like, and at this point, my fear of having an epidural was like out the window. I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like, I need to have something. Like, there's physically no way I can. I'm like, I'm not even pushing yet, and it's been, I'm so weak
You're
too, and
also
everything.
like how many days in?
Like
at
3
this
days
point?
in at this point, yeah.
Without eating.
Yeah, without
not
eating.
sleeping.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they're like, okay, we're gonna go get the OB, come do the epidural, and I just remember like, so you basically have to like hug your knees and round your back as much as you can, so you're opening like your spinal cord so that the needle can go in there. And Rob just lost it. He was in the corner just sobbing because he was so
Oh my
afraid, because
gosh,
this was the
poor
one thing we
Rob.
didn't want to have to do.
Yeah.
So, but I remember just hugging my knees, and you're supposed to be dead still, but you're having contractions. So you're not supposed to move, but you're having contractions. So I just remember though being just like don't move, like whatever pain you're in, like do not move, like because this is so scary. Like
Yeah.
if something goes wrong,
Yeah. It's
you
like
have to-
very important.
it's
to
very
not
important.
move.
Yeah. So, they're like, okay, you're gonna feel like a cold sensation, and everything should go numb like pretty quickly. And they put it in, and I felt cold down my back for like 2 inches, but then I didn't feel anything keep going. And so they do this thing called the ice test, where they basically take a bag of ice, and they put it on your arm, because your arms are not supposed to be frozen. You're basically supposed to be frozen from like the needle down.
Yeah.
So
Right.
they put it on your arm where you're not frozen, and then they put it on your leg, and you're supposed to like see if there's a difference, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I still feel it on my legs. And they're like, are you sure you feel it on your legs? And I'm like, I feel it on my legs. Like I can feel a bag of ice on my legs. And I'm like, it's like slightly less
intense.
icy,
Yeah.
But not what you need it to be.
but it's
Yeah.
cold.
Mhm.
And I can still feel the contractions. Like I'm still in so much pain. And they're like, keep doing the ice test. They keep doing the ice test. And I'm like,
They're like, we don't believe you.
I can still feel it. So they give you this button that you can self-administer more of the medication, because they fully like tape the needle, like the
Yeah, it's in you
Yeah.
the
It's
whole
in you,
time.
yeah.
Isn't it?
You, right?
So my entire back is medical tape, just like tape, and you can self-administer, and there's a safety on it so that you cannot overdose.
Okay.
But I felt self-conscious about like
Doing more and more.
doing more and more and more. Like
yeah.
I kind of, it was one of those moments where I would kind of wait till like the nurse wasn't there, and then I'd like press it, because
Yeah.
I don't know, I felt weird about
Yeah.
just being like,
Give
give
me
me more,
more.
give me more. But like this was clearly not working, so
But it's not. It doesn't get you high. It just numbs you.
it just
right?
you shouldn't feel anything.
Yeah.
Basically below that, but I still was feeling everything. So over the course of the next 4 hours, like they kept coming back every hour and being like, you know what, I think we're gonna try and we're gonna up your dose, because maybe the dose isn't high enough. So they could control and give me like a higher dose.
Okay.
And they did that once an hour for 4 hours, but I was still like in so much pain that I was like moaning,
Yeah.
and they're like, you should not be feeling really any of this on an epidural. So they keep trying this, and this is when my midwives were able to kind of like advocate for me and be like, look, like this is not working for her, like something is clearly not
Yeah.
right.
Oh, that's good.
So they bring in a different guy to remove the first one and to put a new one in.
Okay.
Like the needle.
Yeah.
The needle, like, so to remove the epidural and give me a fresh brand new one.
Okay.
And at this point, like I'm just so like raw, like emotionally and like physically, I'm just so raw. And when they had to rip all the tape off my back, that is when I just lost it. Like I was just like sobbing uncontrollably, and I was like, I can't believe it's the tape that did me in. But it was just like
Sometimes
whole,
it's the smallest.
it's the
thing.
smallest
Yeah.
thing, right? Like
It just sets, like tips you over the edge.
Yes, because I'm like trying to be like, you're trying to be so strong, like just mentally like talk yourself through this pain and breathe through whatever, and it was like the tape sent me over the edge.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
which by the way, I was literally like, I had tape residue on me for like 5 to 6 weeks afterwards.
What?
And I mean, like, I exfoliate, but that stuff is like,
Is it from like sweat mixed with the tape or something that made it
No, it's
stick on
probably
so
because it
long, or
has to stay
in
like
place?
so secure.
Yeah,
in
like, it is-
place.
I don't know what kind of tape it is, but it is like, it might as well be made of human skin, because like it does
just
not like
adheres.
yeah, I'm like exfoliating everything. Like my back was like had
wow.
tape residue for literally weeks afterwards. So anyways, they put in the new epidural. Instantly it works, and instantly I like feel relief. And I don't remember this, but my midwife told me afterwards that I looked at her in the eye and said, I'm hungry. And she's like, I knew it worked then, because like finally
you had relief.
You had relief, and you could actually fathom eating something, and you weren't just like focusing on the pain. So I had like the best granola bar of my entire life.
Oh my gosh.
And like a piece of toast with peanut butter and a
Aw.
popsicle, and then just like passed out.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So still having contractions.
Yeah.
But I'm like now, thankfully, I'm like numb, and I'm just dead to the world asleep. So he let me sleep for a couple hours. So this is now like Tuesday afternoon, going into like the evening. But then they're talking like, okay, well, the epidural, because you're not feeling things, it slows things down. So they're like, we need to induce you.
Oh wow.
So they had to induce me with oxytocin, which basically makes contractions come like hard and fast, and basically like
It jumpstarts labor.
Jumpstarts labor.
Wow, you literally went through it all.
Yeah, it
Like,
was.
And I know there's more coming.
Yeah. So, but I didn't realize like what that like that pushing was going to feel like, right? Like, and this is the thing in like prenatal classes that we had done, we really like talked about what the media shows you of giving birth, right? Like they talked about in every movie you see,
It's
like
always back birth.
it's always like you're lying in a bed with your knees up and giving birth. And what we learned in prenatal is that the majority of birth actually doesn't happen like that. Like a lot of times you're on all fours on the floor.
Right.
Or you're, squatting.
Yeah.
You're like leaning against a wall. Your partner's like holding you up, like all these things. So I had gotten it out of my head that like I'd be lying in a bed on my back with my knees up, and I'd be most likely in a different position. Well, turns out I'm now like lying on my back with my knees up, giving birth the exact way I didn't think I was going to be.
Interesting.
So
is that because of the epidural?
because of the epidural.
Got it.
Because I guess you can't really walk around with an epidural.
Yeah,
'cause
I
you're
could
just
I could
numb.
move my legs, but you can't feel anything. So like I wouldn't be able to like stand up.
Right.
So
Whoa.
and then so okay, like contractions are now coming, and you can kind of it's like a wave. Like you can like feel it coming, and you can't fight it. It's kind of like when you have diarrhea.
Yeah.
And it's like that like when that like is coming, and you can't stop it.
No, it's
coming, and it's there, and it's just you're just along for the ride.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what it felt like when a contraction's coming, like you can't sit it out. You can't just be like, I'm just gonna let this one pass. Yeah. No.
I'll do the next one.
So I have Rob on this side, and then my doula down at the end, and then I've got my midwife, and I've got a nurse. So I've got 4 people around me. So 2 people on each leg.
Yeah.
So they're holding my legs for me. And then I'm told that I need to like hook my arms under my thighs, and I also need to be like pulling. Right? And when you give a contraction, I thought that you'd be like, ah, or like, exhaling, but they're like, no, you need to hold your breath and like bear down. So
hold your breath. Really?
Yes, which I didn't know. You're supposed to hold your breath. So you literally feel like your eyeballs are going to pop out of your head. Like I thought for sure.
Yeah. Well, because it's like you're holding your breath to put more pressure.
So
it's not releasing out of you. Like you're literally like all of your pressure.
So all of your bicep strength is pulling your arms up, and you're literally like as hard as you can.
I also just don't understand how your biceps were even had the strength to hold up your own legs at that point too. Like
no.
I couldn't straighten my arms for 4 days afterwards.
Wow. Okay.
So and they want you to do like 3 of these breaths for every contraction. So you're like
oh,
and then you have to do that like 3 times
the reenactment
per contraction.
Right now.
And I'm like, how am I not just one large red blood vessel?
Yeah.
Like
how are both of your fucking eyeballs not
I literally
red?
felt like Jim Carrey in The Mask. Like, when his eyeballs are like popping out of his head, like that's what it felt like. I was like, there's no way that my eyeballs are going to stay in my head. There's physically no way. So I'm like, this is going on for like basically 45 minutes. And they're like, Eliza, you're like so strong, you're so powerful. And like it went from them not being able to see Remy's head to like being able to see the top of her head. And they're like,
progress.
They're like, oh my gosh, like you're so strong, like you're pushing it like so hard, like she's coming so fast. And I'm thinking like, I mean, like, I'm a words of affirmation person, so I'm like, yeah, like, this is like, I feel like I'm a rock star, because they're just like, wow, you're so strong, and like, and I'm like, yeah, and like, I can do this, and so I'm feeling hopeful, like, I'm feeling there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
There isn't? Are you?
No.
Well, there is.
So I see her head, so like, going from like not seeing her to like, they can see the top of her head.
Yeah.
In 45 minutes, and they're like, dang, like that's awesome, like you're so close. And then I stayed so close for another 2.5 hours.
Oh,
So she got stuck basically. So
was it her shoulders?
Her positioning, basically a baby should be, what is it, face down. So she was facing sideways, so her back was like this, and her head, her face, she was facing right. And so a big part of getting the baby out of your head and having like the smallest part of the circumference of the head is having their like chin tucked,
right? But
her chin was up and she was sideways, so she literally, it was kind of like
the widest part.
Yeah, and they were like, they were like, she needs to kind of like get like around this corner of my like pelvic bones.
Yeah. And
she just got stuck there.
Oh, what was she thinking when that was
right?
Just like hey,
it's not working, right?
Really not into
like, can we try something else?
Yeah.
So, and so, you know, they keep saying like, you're so close. You just gotta like, she gotta get her around this corner. Like, you're so close. And you know, after an hour of getting no traction, nowhere, like, I can tell that everyone else around me is getting tired too, right? Because they're not so like, wow anymore. They're like, you're so close. Like, keep like pushing. Right? They're getting tired too. And I'm like, I'm not close. Nothing's happening. Like I'm like mentally, I'm starting to like crazy fatigue. So, and I'm starting to realize that like suddenly contractions are coming and not everyone is around my bed anymore. Like, Rob's there, but I'm like, where, like, suddenly Rob's there and like my doula's there, but like people are like kind of off doing other things, having conversations.
It's like, oh, just another one.
Yeah. And then I'm lying there being like, it's coming, because I can feel a wave of a contraction coming in. I don't have the strength to hold my own legs, so people rush back to the side of my bed, and like, so after pushing for like 3.5 hours, I had absolutely nothing left. Like, I was like, I'm going to die. This is how it ends. Yeah. Like, there's physically nothing left inside me. My doula's like, go to your reserves. Like, go to like get the last reserves of your energy. And I'm like, there's nothing fucking left in the reserves. Like, I haven't eaten for 3 days. Like, there's nothing left. And that's when I just like looked at them and I was like, I'm tapping out. Like, I'm mentally, I'm done. I was like, you need to get this baby out of me. Yeah. Like, you get me forceps, get me like a vacuum. Like, you need to get it out. Like, and I was kind of starting to panic because I was just like,
well, also she's like too far along.
Of her sitting in the same spot,
and if that's where she is, then you can't have a C-section at that point. It's off the table. Like,
so I didn't realize later. I find out that I was like super close to having a C-section.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because basically like she's stuck in the spot. She's not coming out. And so when these conversations were happening off to the side, when people weren't around my bed, I didn't realize that, but they had already called the OBs and been like, that something needs to happen. So by the time that I had been like, I'm done, you need to give me help, you need to get this baby out, they had already called for help.
Oh, thank gosh.
But they were in another emergency C-section. So that's why it was like taking a while to get there. So everyone kept being like, you can do it.
So they're
just like killing
the reserves.
My mom, so quick aside, the night that my sister was born, my mom said that when she was in labor with me, she had really great nurses. And the night that when my sister was born, she was like, all of my nurses were massive bitches. Like, they were just the worst to her. And then my mom found out there was something like 8 babies born within 2 hours of each other on the floor. And so they were all just like exhausted and also just like over it. Yeah. But I was like, that's insane.
That is insane.
I mean, if I can say anything though, like BC Women's, like Rob and I actually, like, we made a list of every person's name because the care that I received there was like absolutely incredible. Like, shout out to BC Women's Hospital. They were absolutely like world-class care there. They're amazing.
Wow.
Yes. So there was a delay, and finally the OBs show up and they're like, okay, we need to do an episiotomy.
What is that?
Basically, an episiotomy is when they cut your vagina.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I was not ready for that.
So basically,
don't they cut the like the little part between?
Yes.
Your
so like
vagina
between
and
your
your
vagina and your
anus,
anus,
right?
they cut that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is often what like tears during labor too, but it's just like.
So I'd already torn. So I had like torn inside and outside, but it wasn't enough. And apparently there was like basically a muscle that was stopping her from coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically made like a 1-inch cut and 2 pushes, and she was out.
How?
And I've shown Sarah like the video of like her coming out, and they like bring her out. She's like blue and slimy, and they put her on me, and I just cried, and I just kept saying thank you, like thank you, like thank you, like oh my god, thank you, like because it was
over.
It was like
done.
It was there's like finally relief, right? So they take Remy off to the side, they're cleaning her up, all this stuff, and so Rob's like, so when does the placenta come out? And they're like, oh, it's already out. It's in a bowl over there if you want to go look at it.
When did that happen?
Right? Because
that's a second birth.
It's a second birth, and I was kind of like, you know, prepared that that I'd kind of be doing some more like pushes, and it's like, you know, just because she's out, it's not over yet, but it was in a bowl on the other side of the room. No idea.
Interesting.
And then they had to stitch me up. So they had to like stitch up the tears that were inside, and then they had to stitch up the incision from the episiotomy.
Wow.
And I also forgot, the second epidural started wearing off when I was pushing. So I do not remember the name of the drug that they gave me, but they gave me something else because the second epidural was wearing off. But so at this point, like, I'm starting to be able to feel things down there
as they're stitching you up.
Yeah. So I can kind of feel it, and they're like, no, it's fine. Like,
you're like, dude, I can feel this.
This is not comfortable. But you're kind of just like ravaged down there anyways.
Yeah.
That you're just like, just do it. Just get it done.
Oh my gosh.
Holy shit.
So yeah, so it was like, so she was born Wednesday morning.
So Saturday to Wednesday.
Saturday to Wednesday.
And like non-stop Saturday to Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's not like you started feeling it and then like
was that couple hours on the morphine.
A couple hours on the morphine, which were awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
wow.
That was what I was not prepared for, was how long it would take.
No. And that sounds extremely traumatic. Like that sounds like
super traumatic,
very traumatic.
I feel like potentially, like, if you had like a, you know, well thought out binder birth plan, it would have been even harder for you,
for
like,
sure.
And to let go of that
for sure
under the circumstances.
Yeah.
So
and I for a couple weeks I actually couldn't talk about it.
I didn't hear about it until like way later. Yeah.
And like, I'm so open with you about everything.
Yeah.
But it felt too raw. It kind of felt like this thing that I just kind of needed to hold close and process for a while. But it was really cool. The midwife came back to our room the next day and sat down with us and said, like, let's talk about what happened. And so she sat down with Rob and I, and it was actually the first time that Rob and I like looked each other in the eyes and actually like talked about what happened, and he talked about what he
Wow.
experienced and I talked about what I experienced, and that was so incredibly like special and like kind of healing to have the midwife there, and just she was able to answer questions and fill in gaps for things that I couldn't remember, and that was like a really cool moment, and that really helped me to be able to kind of like work through like what the fuck it was that I just went through.
And
Yeah,
again, another reason to have, because you in at least in Canada, you can have a midwife even if you don't get a doula.
Even if you don't get it, like
you
a
can have a
midwife does
midwife at
not
the
cost you a
hospital.
penny.
No.
Midwife in the hospital is actually a pretty new thing. It was,
Yeah, it is a
'cause,
fairly
yeah,
new thing.
midwifery was illegal for a long time, and then I
Yeah.
think it was the 90s where they brought it back. But
Yeah.
then I don't think that they were allowed in
There's
hospitals
still,
until the
there's
last
still a
few
little
years.
bit of like resistance.
There is.
with
Yeah.
it,
There
but,
is.
I mean,
But
it sounds
it was
amazing.
like, yeah, they were like absolutely, my midwives were incredible.
I never thought about that as being like a thing that they would do for you, but that sounds so incredibly valuable, that sort of like mini mediating counseling session,
Yeah.
especially for you and your partner, because it is like a
Absolutely.
part. I mean, if you've got a good partner, it's a partnered experience.
It's a partner
Yeah.
experience for sure.
And like, holy shit, it's a lot.
Yeah.
yeah.
Even if birth is, simple.
Even a much simpler birth, if you just had to go through one of the things you had to go through,
Totally.
it would be pretty.
Yeah.
Just processing.
Totally.
Like any of those things. Like you had to go through all of
The laundry
things.
list.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
laundry list of things. But like, that's just a lot. Like it's, anytime something like that happens, it's just like, and then to have support and be like, let's actually like talk about this. Like
Totally.
let's address it.
With
and then
someone
it
who has
allows
the
you-
language too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you, at least in my experience, when you work with a midwife, like you're put on like a team of midwives, because
right.
they've got a bunch of patients. So they're either somebody's on shift, the other ones are on call. So over the course of those days, like I saw a bunch of my midwives.
Yeah.
There was 4 midwives on the team.
I guess you would have.
Makes
Right?
sense,
So the day after giving birth, I had one midwife come and she did that like session with us, and then we ended up having to stay in the hospital for an extra 5 days, just like Remy had jaundice and a couple other things, so we ended up getting transferred to the NICU. But it was really cool. Like on day 4, a different midwife, who she was like, I heard you guys were still in the hospital. I was just delivering a baby like over there. She's like, I just wanted to come by and say hi, and like I've got half an hour. Like, do you want to talk about what happened? And she spent a half an hour with us, and she's like, I have read all your charts, and she's like, I'm really trying to get to the bottom of what the heck that back pain was about. And so we were able to kind of talk.
It's like still unknown at
Yeah.
that point.
So she was kind of able to work through, like, talk to us about all the medical things that were happening, and kind of like answer some questions for me, and so that again was really cool. So yeah,
Wow.
midwives are amazing.
Midwives are amazing.
Yeah.
Oh man. Whew. Yeah, you had quite the team. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were in the hospital for 5 days.
Yep.
And then you
Yeah.
get released.
So we get released, we go home, we're like learning how to be parents.
Also, just like we're still living like at that point too very much in the world of the pandemic. So like parents aren't coming
Yeah.
over, friends aren't
No.
coming over. Like you guys
No.
are alone at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
as like, obviously your personal family and friend, it was a very weird experience, just like, not to make it about me, but like it was, we find out on Saturday contractions are happening, and then like 24 hours go by and we don't hear anything, and then it's like, okay, like, how are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Like, and then it was like, nothing yet, like, it's like bad, but like no baby yet. And then it's like next day you're always like, anything yet?
Yeah.
And then it was like for 5 days, and it was kind of just like, is everybody okay over there? Like, because we
Yeah.
couldn't come visit, you guys are in the hospital, and then it's just like what is going on? And it's like, understandably, you guys are very preoccupied,
Yeah.
so nobody knows. Like, nobody knows. I was like,
Media blackout.
I was like,
Yeah.
I was calling her mom, like, hey, do you know anything? Like,
Yeah.
do you know what's going on? And then it was just like 5th day, we get like babies born, this time. And everybody's like, okay, whew,
Yeah.
everybody's alive.
But you don't
everybody's
know
fine.
why or
No,
yeah.
didn't know anything. I was just like, I don't care. I just care that they're both fine.
Yeah.
And then it was like, and I was like, Eliza will eventually tell me,
Yeah.
like what went on. And I was like, I'm just not gonna ask until it's very clear that
it's
you
okay.
were, yeah,
that
you
I'm
were
ready to talk about
comfortable
it. Totally.
to talk about it. Because I was like, that's just like something happened. I was like,
Yeah.
5 days is not a normal.
And then
Yeah.
another and then another 5 days in the
And then
hospital.
yeah, and
That's-
like you guys were talking more when you guys were in the NICU, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of want to hear about the recovery once you're home. So your recovery is being
Yeah.
monitored for 5
Yeah.
days in the hospital. You get all these lovely check-ins from the midwives.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Then you go home.
Yeah.
How is your health?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Good thing you cleaned that house, eh?
Oh, yes. I was, thankful to come home to a clean house. But, stitches in your vagina, not a good time. You also, this is like, and I'm learning so much of this like as I go. So
Right.
they're telling you like, okay, so you're not going to have a bowel movement for a couple days. And now that like the baby has been born and I'm now eating everything because I'm so hungry and I just like keep eating and I'm like, this is all going in, but this has to come out.
Oh, no.
And like,
do they give you like laxatives or something?
Yeah,
Because
so
I'm like, you don't want to be pushing anymore.
no, exactly.
No.
So basically, like right away, you're taking like Tylenol and ibuprofen every couple hours, and you're also taking stool softeners. They give you stool softeners
Okay.
like right away. But
Sorry,
like-
just so glamorous.
right, it's
So
so glamorous. So yeah, and they're like, it's probably not going to come for like 3 or 4 days, and I'm thinking like 3 or 4 days, like that's a lot of meals that are like building up
So
inside of me,
lot
and this
of
is like
meals.
terrifying, right?
Yeah.
So to have your first poo is actually the scariest thing ever,
Oh.
because any pressure down there whatsoever is like
Mhm.
super like triggering, and you're just like, I don't want to rip my stitches, I don't want to do everything. So
Yeah.
my midwife gave me like a really good tip,
Mhm.
and she's like, basically like take a cloth or take toilet paper or something like that and like put pressure on your vagina, like basically hold your pelvic
Oh.
floor
While you poo.
while you poo, so that
brilliant.
so that you're not just like everything is
Everything
pushing
out.
down there.
Right.
Oh, that's so smart.
And it made it infinitely less scary,
Yeah.
and it was actually fine.
Yeah.
Very hands-on experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's so smart because it's like you're putting that pressure when you have to push your poop out.
Yeah.
So it's like, but holding it,
Yeah.
it would for sure relieve some of that pushing
But
your
yeah, the
pelvic
push, yeah.
pelvic floor.
And so another thing that I didn't realize is that like when you go pee, like you can't wipe your bum for like weeks, right? Because
Oh.
you've got stitches down there,
Uh-huh.
and so like wiping could potentially like rip your stitches. So they give you this like bottle. It's like a
Is it kind of like a douche?
kind of
that
it's like
you
a
don't
squirt?
put in?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a squirt bottle.
Right.
And you basically just like fill it up with warm water, and every time that you like pee, you basically just give it. It's like a handheld bidet. Basically,
Right.
you just like
Wow.
like wash it down there,
and then you
That's
just have a wet
awesome.
crotch?
and that's
Can
why
you not like dab towel?
you could. But I just basically
Why
like
risk it?
Yeah, I guess so.
I just pull up my Rebel underwear, and then I was good to go.
Oh, yeah, leak proof.
Leak
Leak
proof.
proof
Yeah.
Rebel underwear, and then I'm good to go.
I guess that makes sense.
So
Brilliant.
yeah, then you also do these things called a sitz bath, which is basically like this. It looks like a bowler hat, but it's made of plastic, and it
Okay.
fits on the inside of the toilet. And you fill that with warm water, and you literally just sit in it.
And do you actually soak in it, or you're steaming?
No, you soak your bits
soak
in it.
your bit.
Yeah.
That's
Because you're not
cool.
supposed to be having baths,
Right.
but
Okay, that makes
you
sense.
can just basically have a crotch bath,
Sorry, This
Wow.
is so weird.
right?
Yeah, it
no
is.
one fucking tells you
No
this.
one. I've
Here's this
never heard
plastic
of
bowler
this.
hat. Sit in it.
Sit your crotch
But
in
you also
it,
put it on the toilet.
but you put it on the toilet. Like, why haven't they done something that you can have at like your kitchen table or something? Like, no, this bowler hat sits inside the toilet, and you just sit in warm water, and like
For how long?
for like as long as you want until
Yeah.
the water gets cold. But
Do you
also,
put
like,
anything in it, like Epsom salt, or like
No.
it's just water.
It's just like warm water.
I
and,
mean,
like,
sure.
But also, have you ever had the rest of your body dry while your crotch is sitting in warm water?
I cannot say that I have. I
No.
think
It just makes you want to pee.
yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah. I can
Right?
see that. I can see
It's
that.
just like the weirdest thing.
Oh my gosh.
It's the weirdest thing.
I can't even. Oh
in the
my
world.
god.
I love
So that recovery was like the crotch recovery I was not prepared for. And like
Right.
How long, just like, kind of from when you got your stitches to when you felt like you could go to the bathroom without worry and all that stuff, like how
Yeah,
long was that for you?
probably about 5 weeks.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's
That's
what
a
I was
long
not and that was
time.
not like I was not prepared for that.
No.
Because first of all, like coming out, like we're still in a pandemic, and like I love working, I love being busy, and now I'm
Yeah.
just like in my house
Uh-huh.
recovering, and I just want to like get out. Like I was just like, I need to get out
Yeah.
of the house. But the midwives, like I was like, I'm gonna go for a walk on the seawall, and thankfully before I left the house, the midwife called to check in, and she's like, how you doing? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just about to go for a walk on the seawall. And she's like, hell no. She's like, you sit down on that couch. Like this was like a week after I was home.
Oh
She's
my
like-
gosh.
She's like,
Why no seawall?
she's like,
Because she's torn.
she's like,
yeah.
she's like, not only are you torn down there, you have a wound the size of a dinner plate inside of your uterus.
Ah! Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So she's like, you can walk to the end of the block and back, maybe. And here I was thinking like, I'm gonna go for an hour walk like down a hill.
Think about it. Like anytime you get like,
No, it makes
think
sense
about,
when
like,
you say
sometimes,
it.
Like you get your tonsils taken out, and they say don't pick up a box for 6 weeks. These are your tonsils. Like so, think about like the pressure it puts on your body everywhere to like
Right.
pick up a box or pick up
Whatever it
anything
is, yeah.
heavy. It's like imagine that then, like times 1,000 because you have like your uterus is healing, your
Yeah.
vagina,
It's still, like,
your
slowly, like,
vulva,
contract-
like
yeah.
everything is like healing back up, and then you have stitches from ripping, and then everything. It's like you actually would have to fully recover
Yeah.
from something like that.
Which is why it is actually like blows my mind that in the States they have like 6 weeks.
Yeah, because
Yep.
that's hardly time to recover.
And a lot of people don't even have 6 weeks.
You're basically like barely healed and you're going back to work. So that was crazy for me because my mind, I was so ready to like get out of the house.
Yeah.
I was ready to do things, but like my body like just couldn't. And that was like the first time in my life I've really ever experienced anything like that where my job was to sit and do nothing, which was really hard.
Yeah.
Like mentally it was
used to it.
really hard.
And then
Yeah.
just to say too, like I heard that Rob was still trying to work as much as he had been working, 60-hour weeks,
yeah. He was supposed to be taking the like
paternity leave.
paternity leave,
Right.
but then she came 10 days early, and
Oh,
the week we got home, the dryer at our Fraser Street location died, and at a salon you do laundry 8 hours a day.
right.
Oh
and
yeah.
So we tried to order a new dryer, but because of COVID, there was like no dryers in the city, so it was going to take 10 days to get there. So he was driving back and forth to the salon 4 times a day, bringing home all the laundry, and then washing it, drying it, and then taking it back so that the stylists weren't running out of laundry.
Plus now you have baby laundry too.
Yeah.
So
Oh
holy shit.
yeah.
So and then yeah, he had a couple crazy weeks of like intense work, but we got through that, and now we definitely have much more of a balance. He's not doing 60-hour weeks anymore.
That's good.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
So
Oh man.
I want to circle back to this back pain.
Yes.
Oh yes.
So
yeah.
like when did that happen? Did it come on really strong all of a sudden?
Yeah, so basically it was a week later, and you know, I was like, I know that I'm healing down there. Like you're basically, you're kind of getting cramps again, like period cramps again, because it's your uterus contracting back to its regular size. So it kind of feels like your period again, because your uterus is trying to get back to where it was.
Yeah.
And you're also bleeding. Because you're like shedding.
How much were you bleeding? Like the amount that like a quote unquote normal period would be? Are you spotting or?
I'd say it was like maybe like not quite as, it definitely wasn't as heavy as like the heaviest day of a period.
Okay.
Right.
But I would say it was more like, like
a medium flow.
And it's like super clotty.
Right.
Okay.
And so it's just like everything that's kind of like left that still is shedding and still kind of coming out. So I was getting like crampy, and I'm like, no, like this is probably just normal. And I always say that, and Mom's just like, no, Eliza, you need to like whatever, go to the doctor or whatever. So but then I started getting like chills, and I started getting like shivery, and then the back pain was slowly kind of creeping up again.
So how many days home are you at this point?
I was
within a week?
5 days home. Yeah,
Okay.
So this was a week. So we went to Mount St. Joseph's Hospital. So I've now visited all like four.
I was gonna say that's every Metro Vancouver hospital
in like the span of a week.
Oh my gosh!
Just try them all.
Yeah, why not?
And their emergency room closes at 8 p.m.
Really?
Yeah. So I got in there, and they looked at me, and then they're like, we don't have like a gynecologist here, so we need to transfer you downtown to St. Paul's.
No.
So I literally 1 week later ended up back in that exact same exam room where they gave me the morphine.
Seriously?
Did you have to go up and down again?
Thankfully I did not. They just kept me in emerge. But they did give me painkillers and stuff like that. And I ended up having to get an ultrasound, and I had endometritis, not endometriosis, endometritis.
Oh.
So it's basically an infection of the uterus.
Oh.
Wow.
So they basically said like they kept calling them products left inside of me.
Oh, okay.
And
Sorry.
I'm like,
Products?
Makes it sound like someone left scissors in you or
Right.
something.
No, they kept calling it products, like bio something products, and it's basically just parts of your like placenta and things are kind of like left
they just
inside.
Didn't come out.
Didn't come out, and they're getting infected.
So
So they put me on like 2 weeks of antibiotics.
Yeah.
So started on antibiotics right away, and within 24 hours, like the pain went away.
Do you? I mean, I don't know if you found out any more information about this back pain, but like, do you think there could have been something that was already starting an infection inside you before she was out?
Yes. So when I kind of reconvened with the midwife, and she had read over all of my charts, at one point when the back pain was starting, she was saying that my like white blood cell count was going up, and so they were thinking that it looked like the beginning signs of a kidney infection, but it never came to full fruition. And so that's why there's literally still question marks around what exactly that was. So I'm still not 100% sure, but they said it was looking like you were getting an infection, and then.
But they didn't know where from.
But they didn't know where from or what, what about.
What was causing it.
So,
if you've had endometritis post-birth, please email us.
Yes, please.
Why so mysteriousspod@gmail.com. We want to hear about it.
And then basically was on antibiotics, and that just kind of like nuked whatever was going on.
And it hasn't come back?
It has not come back. Fun fact. So I was seeing my osteopath while
What's that again? What's an osteopath?
Bones? No.
They do like bones, ligaments, joints.
Okay.
And she's amazing. They're kind of like chiro mixed with physio mixed with massage.
Okay.
And so was seeing her a week later, and I was telling her I was on antibiotics, and she's like, okay, you need to get boric acid.
Oh,
okay.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about boric acid.
And I was like, what the hell is boric acid? And she's like, well, basically it's like you need to insert these tablets up your vagina, because when you're on antibiotics, you're wiping out all the good bacteria. And it causes yeast infections, all this kind of stuff. And she's like, you might notice like a bad odor. It smelled like a barnyard down there.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, okay, this is what you were talking about.
Yeah.
And so basically,
Did you try the boric acid?
I did for 7 days.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it was my osteopath that told me that. It wasn't like the
we just talked about this on the episode's not out yet.
It will be out by the time this comes out.
Yeah, basically boric acid is a relief to yeast infections because it acts in the same way that an antibiotic will kill whatever infection you have. Boric acid kind of does the same inside your vagina.
So just to the vaginal wall.
Yeah, like you'll get a yeast infection from doing antibiotics.
Yeah.
Which then causes like overgrowth of yeast and you have discomfort, and especially if you're healing, that's probably a really bad situation to have a yeast infection near open wounds and stuff like that. So I'm not surprised that was recommended, because boric acid is like wipes it clean, like removes it. There is a little bit of like controversy with boric acid because it is like the antibiotic where it wipes everything. Right. And then
I would say though the controversy, and part of the reason that like we talked about it in the previous episode, is because there's a lot of companies that make boric acid suppositories because they want you to take it every day,
like forever,
to prevent a stinky vagina.
Yeah.
So
that's you were taking it for the
correct
reasons
reason
we would recommend to do it, because it's like you had a reason to take it. There was actually like something not balanced in your vagina. Yeah. But these companies promote it as like, keep a clean vagina, use this every day.
Every day.
Like all the time. Basically, go listen to the episode, What is a Healthy Vagina?
To learn more.
But I think it's, in the episode, I do talk about how I think it is a good option. Yeah. For some cases.
I just still find the idea of like a pill that is inserted anywhere else other than your mouth is just hysterical to me. Yeah. I was like, it just feels like, I'm like, that's not a mouth down there. Why am I putting a pill in there? Yeah. But it helped it. So.
It helped it. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Fun fact, if you put it in your mouth, you die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, you might not die, but it is really tough.
They need to make that warning label much larger.
Bigger. Yeah, exactly.
Probably.
Yeah.
Lock it up.
So yeah.
Anyways, but that's good. I'm glad to hear that helped. And then you were just totally fine after that.
Like, and then I was just like doing like regular healing and stuff after.
Oh god.
So
wow.
Yeah.
So
what a journey.
I do want to talk about too, like, you brought a baby home. So you're doing all of this healing and stuff, and you have a baby. And so just to touch on this a little bit, is like, again, it sounded like, and especially if you listen to the previous episode, like you didn't really have a lot of expectations over this whole thing, which I think is very healthy. But like, I'm just wondering, like, did you have, what was it? Oh, what did we talk about in the last episode? Someone said like day 3, you're going to have a meltdown.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you talked about that.
You're going to have an emotional meltdown
for you.
Did that happen?
So funny, because everyone that I had talked to had been like, day 3 or 4, you lose your shit, you bawl your eyes out for a full day. Yeah. So I'm like waiting for it to happen. And it didn't happen.
Did it happen to Rob?
No.
No? Everybody just chill.
Everyone was just chill.
All right.
I was really expecting much more of like an aggressive like
up and down.
Okay. Up and down.
Maybe
mood
you just
swings.
experienced all of it because you were in that for so long.
Yeah.
Like the labor.
Yeah. I don't know. And I was fully like prepared for it. Like we even like we put in like preparations. Yeah. We're like, we're not no one's going to see us this day because this is the day set aside for Eliza to cry. And,
oh my gosh, I love that.
And then it just didn't
happen.
It didn't happen.
Wow.
Were there any moments when you brought your kiddo home though, where you were like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? I have a kid.
So and this is like, I don't want to go on this like giant
Sure.
rabbit hole. The only moments that I like fully broke down and lost my shit was because someone sued me
Oh yeah.
3 days before I went into labor.
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So we won't go into that on the pod, but that would supercharge
Yeah.
any
I
situation.
had a former employee sue me 3 days before I went into labor. Yeah. And so I kept like, so after birth and all this kind of stuff, like I said, I had been mentally preparing for a long time that I was going to have all these mood swings and everything. The only time that I cried and that I had like full breakdowns was whenever I would get an update or an email from either my lawyer or her lawyer.
Because it's like, why am I doing this?
Because why am I doing this? Because I really like, I kind of felt like the first couple weeks of my maternity leave were stolen from me because I was having to deal with this like insanely stressful situation when all I wanted to be doing was just like being at home and like figuring out what the fuck my life was now, you know?
Right.
And I just remember this one moment, I'm like standing, wearing nothing but my underwear and have 2 breast pumps on, just like standing in my room, just like bawling my eyes out, being like, I don't want to be sued. So
that's real life, baby.
Fair. Yeah.
But yeah, I was really, really surprised that the emotional piece afterwards for me wasn't as nearly like a big of a struggle as I expected it to be. So
that's good. That's
which
awesome.
was awesome. That was kind of like a blessing. Who knows, like my next kid, who knows? I know it's been like super different for everyone.
Yeah.
And maybe part of it was that I was like so like waiting for it to happen that it like just never came. I don't know. But
hey,
that's possible.
Not to say there haven't been like hard days where I'm like,
of course,
what is my purpose?
Yeah.
Definitely have those sometimes.
Yeah.
Like not working to the same capacity as I was before. But
well,
really like
yeah.
I haven't had any of those like
no.
where I feel like I'm going crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A real hard-hitting question.
Bring it.
Do you like being a mom?
Oh, that's a great question. Do you like it?
Just because you were kind of like, you didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, how motherhood would treat you.
Yeah.
And
totally.
we should say she's 3 months
She's
now?
3 months
okay.
now. Yeah.
So you're still fairly new.
Yeah. I do.
Cool.
I do like being a mom.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like there's definitely some days where you're just like, you feel like, what is my purpose? I just feel like I'm just like floundering around. You simultaneously are like, I love you so much, but you're so annoying. There's so many conflicting emotions of like, I want to be out of the house doing my own thing, like my life before.
Yeah.
But then you're out of the house and Rob's looking after her, and I'm like, and I miss her so much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. So there's tons and tons of conflicting emotions. But I wouldn't trade it.
Oh.
No. I freaking like, I fucking love her so much.
Oh.
And
she is like so precious.
She just started laughing at her.
She just started laughing. She started laughing because I was choking on a glass of water.
Right.
She thought it was hysterical.
I think that's hilarious.
I was like, should I be worried that this is what you find funny?
I like it.
But no, it's really cool. It's really cool.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you
That was a
liked it.
hard-hitting question.
Yeah.
I have another question that's similar to that
Yeah.
one. Probably not as gnarly though. If you could tell Eliza from Assume the Pregnant Position episode a couple things, whether that's advice or just words of wisdom, like what would you impart to 8.5, 9 months pregnant you?
I like that. I think maybe what I would have wanted her to know is like how empowering the experience was, because I kind of always, and this is just me, what I've struggled with is I've like looked at like elements of motherhood as weakness. And that has changed for me. Like I
think that's like a very like good point and like tends to be if you're very entrepreneurial, career focused, and maybe not naturally, but like you see certain aspects of motherhood as weakness. And as much as I am like so pro everybody doing everything like they want with consent, I definitely know what you mean. Like there are times when I'm like, I'm not judging. It's just like there are times where I'm like, I can't see myself ever being that person.
Totally. And even now I times when I like want to complain about like how tired I am or different elements, I still stop myself because I'm like, no, it was my choice. Like I'm not gonna use motherhood as like an excuse. But it was like just to see what your body can do and also what you can survive. Ooh. Like the first time I left the house, every man I saw on the street, I wanted to just scream in their face and be like, you will never know pain. And just be like, do you understand how fucking incredible women are? Like I just had this it sounds super cliche, but I just had this like newfound respect for like, holy shit, every person that I see represent some crazy struggle and crazy story that a woman went through.
Every single person was born.
Every single person was born.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And that's just crazy. And just like the intense, crazy like thing that your body goes through. Yeah, I wasn't like prepared for like kind of like how empowered I'd feel by that. And I was also, when I was pregnant, I was really nervous about what I would feel towards my body afterwards. Like, because you know your body's going to change. You know it's not going to be the same. And I loved my body when I was pregnant, which was surprising to me.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, you
I
talked
really
about that.
loved it, and I was like, "This is awesome." The fatter you get, the cuter everyone thinks you are, right? But I was nervous for how I was like, I don't want like my old mindset towards my body to come back. Because I was really enjoying like the freedom that I was feeling during pregnancy, and I don't know why or how, but I feel like it's continued, and I love my body.
That's
and
amazing.
like my like belly is squishier than it's ever been in my entire life, and I don't look at myself in the mirror and go, ew, that's gross.
That's
which
so
is
great
really,
to hear.
which is really
That's
cool.
so amazing.
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you how I got there, because I would love to go back like 15 years and tell my like 20-year-old self how to get there faster.
It's part of the evolution.
Yeah,
it is.
But it's but that part has been really cool for me. So I'd probably tell 8-month pregnant Eliza, like, don't freak out so much about your body. And I think part of it too is now I have this like precious little face that looks at me every day, and I'm like, I don't want you to ever like internalize or say the kind of
you don't want
things
to
to
pass
yourself
that on.
No. You know, that I struggled with. And so I think that it's just a reminder every day that even on days when you feel kind of like shitty or whatever, just be like, no, I'm choosing, like, my body did this awesome thing. Like, I'm gonna love it no matter what. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
So beautiful.
What a journey we've been on today.
I was so not prepared for how gnarly that whole story is, but I love hearing the end and for the present rather about where you're at with that. And I think that that's so great that you're feeling that way towards yourself and you're just figuring it out. And you're a mom. Whoa.
That's crazy.
But you're still a person?
But I'm still a person.
Yeah, you're still 100% a person. You're just Remy's mom.
Yes, I'm Remy's mom.
There you go.
Yeah. It's so funny. Rob and I have like a pact. Like, we like fully, before we go like hang out with people, we pinky swear that we will not be the first people to mention poo or barf.
Oh, I like that.
I really like that.
Because it becomes so much a part of your daily vocabulary. Like, just constantly.
Because it happens constantly.
You're like literally like.
It really does. We spent the weekend with them barfing, and I mean, I don't really remember her pooping that much. I'm sure she was, but barfing all the time.
You just start wearing like barf adjacent colors so that you can just like quickly like wipe it off and just go on with your day. But we were like, no, like we're working hard at maintaining like who we are and not just like kind of easily like slipping into this like
Yeah.
world that we could, you know, just float away on this like world of parenthood.
Right.
I mean, as people that don't have kids and we spent a whole weekend with you guys, we were not bored the entire time.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed your company.
That makes me so happy. But that's kind of like our little rule is like if somebody else brings up poop and barf, then we can
we'll go there.
We'll go there.
Yeah.
But we're just like, nope, like that's where we draw the line. Like we're still like who we are. We still have our interests. We're still like she's along for the ride with us.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
yeah. So we take her out all the time. We've been to like, you know, obviously safe like with COVID, but like, you know, we've been out at a park at 10 p.m. because that's what we wanted to do. And you know, that kind of thing. So
she came and sat in her bassinet while we went to the pool.
Yeah, exactly. Like she was just literally on the side of the pool.
Yeah, we're just like checking out. She was just chilling.
There was like an age I remember going to like shopping with my friend when my niece was like, like 3. No, I think she was 2 months old at this point. And it was like she's got, you know, the car seat that then turns into you carry it around with you.
Yeah.
Just kind of left her in the corner of the store. And then every once in a while you'd hear someone be like, "Oh."
Yeah.
I was like, she was asleep.
She's
It's fine. But it was just like, as a non-parent and she's the first baby in my life, I was like, you can do that. You can just leave her over there.
Totally. Literally today I was I go to Kafka's Coffee every day with Remy and in the stroller. And today I was like, I have to go to the bathroom. So I like Paul, one of the baristas was on his break, so I rolled her up to beside Paul. I'm like, Paul, can you watch my baby while I go to the bathroom so that no one steals her? And just like, like okay, like they all know her by name.
Yeah.
And,
I love it.
but
Easy.
yeah, so still like working very hard to like maintain regular life as much as possible.
Yeah.
So
I love it. Well,
Final thoughts or wrap up?
I mean, this has just been a great journey. I've really enjoyed you just talking very openly about the whole experience because I think you probably experienced, like, a person might experience one of the things that you experienced and then be able to get, you know, a little bit, feel seen.
Mm-hmm.
And you just went through it all.
yeah.
So
thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. I think
absolutely.
it's really awesome. I think it's really good for people to hear that, like, okay, this happens and then you heal, and like the healing does take time, but it's okay. You will heal and you'll still love yourself after.
Absolutely.
And, like, you know, you move forward.
Yeah.
So I think it's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you for being
All
here.
right. So as we wrap up here, we said in the first episode, but we'll say it again in this episode because where can people find you if they want to find you? And also you have a place where people like to go.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it?
Artel Salon. We've got 3 locations in Vancouver. You can find us on Instagram at Artel Salon. We're on Pinterest. Our website is artelsalon.com. So check us out. And if you need a place to get your hair done, all 3 are open and
I never had a COVID case.
and has never had a COVID case. So
Become very highly recommended.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone in this room has had their hair
Yeah.
done there.
That's true. All right, cool.
Love it.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Why So Mysterious is hosted by Sara Jonsdottir and Raven McLean. Audio is produced and edited by Sonia Inke. Original music is by Malcolm Holt and Alexis Young.
Check out our website, whysomysterious.com, for more information about this episode and other episodes. You can also email us with questions or topics you'd like to hear us cover on the show at whysomysteriousPod@gmail.com.
Follow us on Instagram at Why So Mysterious Pod for updates, fun facts, and general outrage. If you're an audio listener, but you'd rather be a voyeur, check us out on YouTube.
If you like the show, tell your friends, and don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe.
Until next time.